In this video, we'll try to learn something about the intrathoracic branches of the subclavian artery. So here, the costal cartilages, they have been cut open, and we have removed. See, we have removed the first rib, second, third, fourth, five, six, seven, and 8 here. Okay, and even the left side of the lung is also completely removed. What you're right now, what you're seeing is the mediastinal space. Mediastinum is a space between the two pleural sacs, and the heart is located in the middle mediastinum. Heart is located in the middle mediastinum, and what you are seeing is the left surface from the left side. So this is the left ventricle. This is the right ventricle here. So left ventricle, right ventricle, and this is the auricle here. So since this is the left side, apparently this is going to be left atrium and the left auricle. And you can see the typical nature of the auricle here, the end, comb-shaped. Comb of the cock. This is a typical nature of the ruminant or the cattle heart, sorry. So, okay, I will discuss about the heart later. Coming to the branches. So this should be the pulmonary artery. So since this is the right ventricle, you will be getting the pulmonary artery here. I will not worry about that. And what you are seeing, the bigger vessel, this is the thoracic aorta. This is the thoracic aorta, and from the thoracic aorta, and what you are seeing, this is the brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk is the first branch of after giving the coronary arteries, the next branch is the brachiocephalic trunk, which is a branch from the ascending aorta. So aorta, it forms an arch. From the arch, you will be getting the brachiocephalic trunk. Later on, it continues as thoracic aorta. Thoracic aorta, here it continues. Further, it comes out through the aorticus, and then it continues as abdominal aorta. Coming to the intrathoracic branches of the subclavian artery, see the intrathoracic branches. Here, this is the left subclavian artery. So this is the brachiocephalic trunk, and this complete structure is left subclavian artery. Okay. So before this subclavian artery, it comes after giving the branches, it comes out and it continues as the axillary artery here. Before that, we have the branches here. Some of the intrathoracic branches of the subclavian artery. One is the costocervical trunk. Then we have the supreme intercostal here. Supreme intercostal, and finally we have what is known as So the branches of the brachiocephalic trunk, the first one is the left subclavian artery. In the left subclavian artery, we are having the costocervical trunk. We will get the superficial cervical here and the internal thoracic here. So after this, it continues as axillary artery. So coming to the branches of the costocervical trunk, the first one is dorsal scapular. Okay. Next one is the supreme intercostal here. So dorsal scapular, supreme intercostal. And after giving this, the costocervical trunk continues, and you can see there is one more vessel which is going deeper and deeper here, and it supplies to the deep layer of the neck muscles. This is deep cervical artery. After giving the deep cervical artery, the costocervical trunk, it continues as the vertebral artery. So vertebral artery, deep cervical, and then the dorsal scapular and the supreme intercostal. These are the branches from the costocervical trunk. After this, we have what is known as the supreme intercostal here. It is superficial cervical here. After this, we are having the superficial cervical. Okay, superficial cervical. After this, we'll get the internal thoracic, which will be running on the floor of the thorax. In fact, it has been detached here, floor of the thorax, and later on it continues and further divides into musculophrenic and costo-abdominal. And finally, after giving these branches, the subclavian artery, it continues outside as axillary artery supplying to the forelimb. And we can also see so many other structures here. So what are the structures you can remember? In this specimen nerve, here is a nerve which is supplying to the diaphragm. So this is the phrenic nerve. Since this is the left side, this is the left phrenic nerve. So left phrenic nerve here, okay, which is again found by C5, C6, C7. We have discussed enough in the theory class. So this is the phrenic nerve here. And let me also show you some of the contents of the carotid sheet. And this is the common carotid artery, which is nothing but the division of the bicarotid trunk. We are on the left side. So as we know, on the left side, we have the common carotid artery in the carotid sheet, followed by the vagosympathetic trunk. We are supposed to get the tracheal lymph duct and even the internal jugular vein. So this is one of the internal jugular vein, maybe. I am not very sure. However, the one more nerve which is not part of carotid sheet on the left side is recurrent laryngeal. Here, this is the recurrent laryngeal, which will be related to the ventral border of the esophagus. This is the ventral border of the esophagus here, and even the trachea. You can see the trachea. So it is located between the trachea and the esophagus, or this left recurrent laryngeal nerve is related to the ventral border of the esophagus here. So these are the contents of the carotid tree. So to repeat, common carotid artery, vagosympathetic trunk, internal jugular vein, tracheal lymph duct, and recurrent laryngeal. Recurrent laryngeal, as I told you, on the left side, it is not a part of carotid tree. It runs below the ventral border of the esophagus, or it is present between the trachea and the esophagus. Okay, it is present between the trachea and the esophagus. And the site for the esophagectomy is always on the left side, because esophagus, when it starts from the beginning, it moves to the left side from the C4 onwards. So site of esophagectomy is always on the left side of the neck region. Okay. And one more important structure, what you can notice here, you can see there is a ganglion. Ganglion is nothing but the fusion of the nerves, collection of the nerve cells outside the central nervous system. We call it as a ganglion. You can see it is somewhat star shaped, and this we call it as, it is present near the above the longus colli muscle. So this is the longus colli muscle. What you are seeing here, this is the longus colli muscle, and this is present just behind the first rib, and you can see this star-shaped ganglion. They call it as cervicothoracic. It is called a stellate ganglion, or they also call it as cervicothoracic ganglion. And it is a part of sympathetic nervous system. The details of this you will be learning in the autonomic nervous system. And here you can see a small branch here, coming from the stellate ganglion here, and it is joining the vagus nerve. It is joining the vagus here. So we call it as vagosympathetic trunk here. Vagosympathetic trunk. So that sympathetic trunk here, it is from the stellate ganglia. Okay. Beyond this point, it is simple, just a vagus nerve. From here onwards, it is called as vagosympathetic, because it is a vagus as well as a part of the branch from this, that is the cervicothoracic or the stellate ganglion. You can see the branch here. So because of that only we call it as vagosympathetic trunk. In some of the branches,